Oke, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. How are you students? All fine? All good? Thank you for coming in this hari kejepit ya. I hope you are still very much enthusiastic to hear today's guest lecture presented by Prof. Gita. But before we start, I would like to ask the last row students to move to the side so we can get a better view to listen to Prof. Gita's lecture, ya. Okay. I wonder how many students who are not from nutrition program in this room? Or all of you, all from nutrition program? Can you raise your hands if you are from nutrition program? Okay, all of you, yeah? Okay. Thank you so much for being so enthusiastic to come today. Before we start, I would like to invite Ibu Asi, our head of department, to give an opening speech to officially open today's event. Please, Bu Asi.
Thank you, Bu Fatima. Selamat pagi. Belum sarapan. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ya, selamat pagi untuk semua ya. The distinguished guest, our Professor Gita Apana. Thank you for your coming and sharing. Also, Dr. Fatima as a staff members of Department Public Health Nutrition and also of the student. So I think today is the last day for Prof. Gita here, yeah? And we would like to ask Prof. Gita to share with us about data, I think, yeah. Since you are now still second semester, right? Yeah, okay. Familiar dengan SKI? Apa itu SKI? Survei Kesehatan Indonesia. Yeah, I think you must know all of survey in Indonesia. Yeah, we have SKI. Also, we have SSGI, Survei Status Gizi Indonesia. And I think we have a lot of data, including stunting, yeah, also obesitas. Yeah, I think now Indonesia is facing with not only double burden, but also triple burden malnutrition. We still have undernutrition, and overnutrition getting increasing, and we still also have a micronutrient deficiency. Yeah? For the prevalence of stunting, we got the data from the SKI, Survei Kesehatan Indonesia, around 19.8% now, and it's I think it's decreased compared with 5 years ago. But our president asked to achieve the prevalence of stunting until 14%. So we still now have around 90.8%. Yeah, I think we know we have a lot of intervention to address the malnutrition here in Indonesia. For the obesitas, yeah, I think of nutrition, we also has a grab into young demographic. You know that obesitas affecting nearly 8% of school-age children and close to 12% with overweight, yeah, continuous rise in the adult obesity. So I think it's really high prevalence because I think overweight and also obesitas getting increase. Yeah. So also I think at the grassroots level, we have a system, EPPGBM ya, elektronik pencatatan pelaporan gizi berbasis masyarakat. Itu ada di tingkat puskesmas ya. Ini anak gizi harus familiar ya dengan begini ya, EPPGBM ya, itu real time, data real time from Posyandu ya. And I think this morning we look forward to learning from Professor Gita on how we can refine our data collection here for the methodologies, identify life course pattern, and so utilize rigorous nutritional epidemiology to bridge the gap between data collection and impactful policy. To our student, I encourage you to listen actively, yeah, because we have Prof. Gita here, and I think she has expertise in obesity in Malaysia, and today I think we have to learn about data from Malaysia, yeah, and as you know, in Indonesia also we have a lot of data. Maybe you can use the data for your final examination for the scripts thesis, but it's around 3 years, next 3 years. Hopefully the prevalence of stunting and also obesitas in Indonesia not getting increased, but we hope that the prevalence is decreased, yeah, hopefully. And the last one is thank you again, Prof. Apana, for bridging the distance between Malaysia and Indonesia. Oh, welcome, Pak Pandu. I think you have to. Morning. Pak Pandu is a staff member from Biostatistic Department. So she had a lot of data and also analyze the data in Indonesia. Okay, I think thank you for your coming and sharing, Prof. Gita, to the guys here, ya, to adik-adik. Ya, moga-moga bisa memberi inspirasi ya terhadap data yang kita miliki. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay. Thank you so much, Bu Asi, our head of the department, for the opening speech. I would like to say my warm welcome to Pak Pandu and Bu Diah. Pak Pandu is the lecturer from the Biostatistic Department, and Bu Diah is the lecturer from our department. We are honored to have you two to also joining us in this lecture. Okay, students, so before we start the lecture today, I would like to just give you a preview that this lecture today is a very actually multidiscipline topic in nutrition. Yeah, so you are now at the first year of your nutrition education. Next year, in your third and fourth year, you will learn about nutrition life cycle. Yeah, so nutrition from nutrition in pregnant mothers, nutrition in breastfeeding mothers, nutrition in toddler, yeah, school age children, adolescents, and adult. Yeah, so these are the things that will also be learned today. Yeah, and also next year, or the third year, I don't remember, but you will also learn about research methodology in nutrition, yeah, the way to collect data in nutrition research, and that will also be learned today in this lecture, yeah. So please do take notes, because there is actually also an assignment for making the resume of this lecture, yeah. Do take notes, and also please be brave to ask your questions. We know already Prof. Gita is a very nice professor. Yeah, you already met Prof. Gita last year, right? Yeah. So please be brave to ask your questions. Be curious, and let's have the biggest opportunity. Let's gain the most of what we will learn today. Yeah. Okay, so without further ado, I would like to invite Prof. Gita. So as you remember, Prof. Gita is a professor in nutrition and dietetics from IMU, University Malaysia. Prof. Gita holds her PhD from Cambridge University, and Prof. Gita is also the previous president from Malaysia Associations for the Study of Obesity. Yeah. So with that stellar portfolio, we know that Prof. Gita is a very highly competent researcher in her field, and we are very honored to have her here with us giving the lecture. So without further ado, please, Prof. Gita, the time and place is yours.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Dr. Fatima, Prof. Haseh. Prof. Haseh, thank you so much for your nice words, and Dr. Fatima for your nice words again, and also for the hospitality given to me. Nothing less. It's always been great. Thank you so much for that. Selamat pagi. Good morning, everybody. Adik-adik, anak-anak sekalian. Sebaya anak almost good. Yeah. Okay. Sehat semua. Saya cuba baca kat bahasa Indon. Saya campur-campur sikit ya. Okay. Otherwise, all okay? Good. Thank you for coming. I know this is like in between holidays. Today is Friday. I know you had 2 good holidays, and then weekend. And I heard Monday is also holiday. Wow. So I salute you for being here, for coming here to listen to our talk. Were you forced to come here? I hope not. Voluntary, right? Voluntary, right? Okay. So it's my great pleasure to be speaking on this topic. Yeah. How do we collect reliable nutrition data across the life course, lifespan? Yeah. And we know how much correctly collected data is important for many aspects. Yeah. Of policy making, making sure that from the policy, making sure that we translate that into management and care for many of our people in this country, in our countries, both in Indonesia and Malaysia. So far, we have to give so much importance so that we collect data as precise, as accurate as possible. Yeah, I know there's a lot of issues when you go to the field, when you really go to the field to do data collection. I know we are faced by so many challenges. Yeah, many challenges. It's not as easy as compared to work in the lab. I know lab has got their own challenges, but the field work has got their own challenges. Yeah, but it's not as easy as a lab work. Sorry for those who are doing lab work. Anybody got interest to do lab works after this? Sorry about it. But I feel, because I've been always in community field, I've been working in the community for a very long time. I feel the community work has got its challenges, and we have to ensure that we are doing this as most appropriately as possible. Yeah. Okay. So I just want to give you some example from stunting to obesity. Yeah, because when you measure, it is possible that a child who is born, being brought up, can become stunted, when the child was still very young age, stunted, but eventually become obese, obviously because of the height issue, So we know this can happen in the same person, the same individual. It can happen in the same household. One person can be stunted, another person can be overweight, obese. Can happen in the same household. They eat from the same pot of rice, isn't it? They're given care from the same parents. But things like that can also happen. In the same community, in the same society, in the same countries. So this all can happen. So that's why we have to give a lot of importance to how to collect this much of data so that we can have the best of intervention or program that can be better suited for all these different people. All right? Okay, that's why we're doing this. Have to inform the policymakers. See, this issue is big. We have to do something. Okay, otherwise, we can't convince the policymaker. Without those data, we cannot convince the policymaker, any people in the government, right? We need data for that. Do you agree? Do you think data can speak for itself? Data speaks for itself, isn't it? Pak Mandu maybe can add on as well. Statistician, he knows about data. I know data, statistics are very important. Without those things, we can't even go and speak to the minister. We can't even go and speak to the officers working in the Ministry of Health. Yeah, so those are important, and making sure the data is the most appropriate data is another thing, and we are going to focus on that today. Yeah, next please, Yasmin. Okay, so you know about this double burden of malnutrition, right? I did mention just now. Yeah, same population, sometimes the same household. Yeah, can experience both undernutrition and overnutrition. Yeah, in the same household, the same person, same household, same community living in the same place. Yeah, can experience this both undernutrition and overnutrition. Yeah, and it exists in multiple form across the life course. Yeah, let's have a look. From pregnancy, what are the issues with pregnant women? Most of them, maternal undernutrition. Yeah, these are the major reasons for stunting. One of the major risk factor for stunting in children is because of maternal undernutrition. Yeah, when the woman get pregnant, become undernourished. Yeah, of course, other factors can be many other factors, but these are also one of the major factor. Yeah, then is anemia. Yeah, are we correctly collecting information on anemia during pregnancy? We don't know. Yeah, and this is why you have to always go back and read all the books, all the programs, all the relevant documents related to antenatal care. How many times mothers are checked for their HbA level? The simplest HbA level in clinic. Yeah, maybe it's just one off. Maybe many times during the pregnancy. How many times? Yeah. Then we go into infancy and early childhood. And we know the problem with malnutrition in infancy, during infancy and during early childhood are including stunting, as I mentioned. And don't forget about wasting. Yeah, but wasting is rather very temporary. Yeah, you all know that wasting is rather temporary. If we correct the problem, the child can become should become normal. Yeah, but things like stunting, things like micronutrient deficiencies is a bit hard to be correcting. We need to take more efforts to correct that. Yeah, okay. Then school age and adolescent, teens. Yeah, mostly in developing countries. Then we have overweight, obesity in emerging countries like those in the upper middle income countries. Yeah, we're seeing more and more children becoming obese in this kind of regions or developing countries. Yeah, and Malaysia is one of it. Do you know what's the prevalence of overweight obesity in Malaysia in children? Any wild guesses? How much is in your country? Prof. Asay just mentioned. You were not listening to her. Cuba. Wild. Anyone? 50 in Malaysia. Little bit more. I mean, you are a bit more. I mean, it's actually lower than that. No, lower than that. Lower than 50. 30%. Yeah. 54 is in adults. Yeah, so you're right for adults. But for children, 30%. This is what does it tell? 3 in 10? Yeah, 3 in 10 children that you see everywhere in Malaysia is either overweight or obese. Yeah, but in adults, this is 54%. If I use WHO cutoff, it's 54%. If I use Asian cutoff, you know the cutoff is different, right? For Asians and WHO is very different. If I use the Asian cutoff, this is more than 60%. So 6 out of 10. Yeah, that's in Malaysia. And because we are emerging in terms of economy. Yeah, and so Indonesia will catch up, of course. And soon you will have this problem as well. Not only that, you probably you will have problem stunting. We are having problem with stunting as well. Even higher than Indonesia. We have to learn from Indonesia. How do Indonesia does? What do Indonesia do with regards to stunting prevention? You are doing a lot better. Yeah. Okay. So there's a lot of things to learn from each other in terms of the life course. Yeah. And then with regards to adulthood, as I mentioned, adulthood, overweight, obesity is one of the highest in this region, in Malaysia. Yeah, and you guys are catching up as well. Yeah, and diet-related NCDs, of course, because when the nation is, if the people in the nation is highly overweight or obese, yeah, you can imagine how much NCDs they might have, comorbidities that related to obesity. Yeah, do you know what are those? Do you know what are those comorbidities related to obesity? Diabetes, yeah, hypertension, lagi, some cancers, yeah. Anything else? There are more, right? More NCDs, yeah. And all these diseases that I mentioned just now, heart problems as well. All these diseases I mentioned just now, they are very expensive. So it's costing the country billions, trillions of money, especially diabetes management. Yeah? Why do we need to do that? We can spend that money to make better school, to make better university, right? Yeah, there you go. Our priority is different now. We need to care for the people, not the school. Yeah? So that's why we have to make sure the data can speak, so that we can have better investment in what we have to do. Yeah? And this is the reason why we need to have reliable data. Yeah? Then older age, mostly people in the older age, there's sarcopenic obesity. Yeah, do you know what sarcopenia? Sarcopenia? Do you know? Yeah, sarcopenia obesity is when they have both the issues. Yeah, sarcopenia and as well as obesity. They are big, but they're also frail. Yeah, big doesn't mean strong. Yeah, they are big, but they're also frail because loss of muscle function. Yeah, all right. Then micronutrient deficiencies. Yeah, this can happen in the same household, the same population, same community. Yeah, how can we just leave one child? Yeah, when the other child in that community, growing very happily and healthily. Can't do that. It takes an entire village to raise a child. Yeah, we are the community in Asia where we care about other people very much. Yeah, we have very strong networks, right? Yeah, so this is why we have to show concern and so on. Next, please. And this is where I'm showing another slide, just to show you like how much double burden of malnutrition can affect a lot of our people in these both countries. Yeah, sometimes undernutrition has got a problem with some health outcomes. It's got linkages, connections to some health outcomes, as well as overweight, obesity to the health outcomes. But the thing is, people can shift between this cycle within their life. People can be in the undernutrition level, yeah, then they shift to the overnutrition level, like stunting to obesity just now. They can be stunted when they were young. When they grow up, they become overweight, obese because of the height. Yeah, so they can shift, yeah, between this cycle within their lifespan. Yeah, and then increasing risk of developing all the other NCDs. Yeah, next please. So the challenge is that, like when I mentioned just now, we have a lot of challenges collecting the real, the correct data, the most reliable data. Yeah, across the life course, and they are very difficult because the challenges such as different measurement tools for different age. Can you measure 2-year-old as similar as to 69-year-old elderly? Can you? No, you can't. Why? Because they're two different people. They're two different age groups. You need two different sets of equipments. Yeah, we cannot measure them the similar way. Yeah, the implication is that data may not be comparable if you for the different age groups. Yeah, so you have to make sure that measurement tools are appropriate for that age group that you are assessing. You may have interest only in children. Yeah, you may have only interest in the elderly, and you may have interest in adults. That's fine. Yeah, you doesn't have to know the correct measurement in all age groups in detail. You probably need to know, what are the things that are really very common. Yeah, in all these age groups. Yeah, but according to your specificity, according to your specialist interest area. All right? Okay, so today I'm going to give you very general. Yeah? So if you have any interest in specific age group, then you probably need to go learn more. Yeah? Get more information. Other than that, changing body composition with age. You agree or not? From childhood, yeah? From infancy to childhood to adolescent, during these stages, the growth is normally very rapid, isn't it? Child born today, in a blink of an eye, can become a adolescent. And not only they increase their age, but also their body composition. Yeah? At the teenager levels, they're already like a full-grown male, female, most of the time. Yeah? So these two different forms in the same person. And it happens very fast. Yeah? So it's the body composition that changes with age. And then we also have a lot of issue with recall bias, especially in children and elderly. If you're collecting dietary intake in children, yeah, it's almost impossible. Because they don't have, in a very young children, they don't have the cognitive ability to remember what they ate yesterday. Yeah? This is even harder in us. Can you remember what you ate yesterday? It takes a while, isn't it? Can you immediately remember what you ate yesterday? Unless, it's something really very significant. Yeah? But if it's very typical habitual diet, you probably take a while to remember what you have eaten yesterday, isn't it? Yeah? So it's a problem it's even more a problem for children. It's even more problem to elderlies who have problem remembering. Yeah? Isn't it? Yeah? Cognitive ability is affecting the way they remember certain certain information, especially diet. Yeah? Can you remember what you ate yesterday? No? Yes? Last week? On this day? Last month? Because with food frequency questionnaire, sometimes you have to remember what you have eaten in the past 12 months. Typically what you eat. Isn't it? It's very challenging for certain age group. Yeah? So that's why in children, normally we use parental information. Yeah? In the elderly, we normally use information from their caretakers. Yeah? But in other age group, they should be able to answer this appropriately. But I've done a lot of studying among adolescents. My interest area is adolescent. Yeah? I tell you, the information they give to me most of the time are rubbish. Adolescent. As naughty as the adolescents. Very naughty. They never take anything seriously. Right? When you ask them to answer what they have eaten yesterday using a form, you have to see. 7,000 kilocal, 8,000 kilocal. Can somebody eat that much in a day? Yeah? That's because they just answer, if that's done using food frequency questionnaire, it's even more crazy. Yeah? It's mad. Right? So, recall bias is definitely a problem. Then logistical barriers. Yeah? Sometimes it's very hard to reach all age groups. Yeah? Because most of the time we do studies in school. Sometimes school don't allow researchers to go in because, it's taking away so much of the academic time. Yeah. At home, when you go to home, they're probably not at home. If you want to target children, they're probably in school. They're not at home. Who is at home when you go and do data collection? Probably elderlies. Yeah. Adults may have gone to work. Yeah. So you don't get. So you have to really consider a lot of factors, logistical barriers when you're doing your study. So if you want to do in children, where is the best place for you to go and get information about these children? In school. Then you have to go through all the process of getting approval to go to school. Yeah? Okay, so depending where you want to do the study. Or workplace. Yeah? Sometimes the workplace, not all companies, not all industry are happy that you are there. Yeah? Because you're taking away of the staff time. Staff is meant to work. There was once when we wanted to do in Malaysia, we wanted to go and do a study in factory. The manager wasn't happy because they said every minute is very important for us for for us to produce our goods, our products. Yeah? So it's very important that you know where you want to do study and what are the logistical problems that you may face, yeah, out of that. Then the last one is cultural differences. Cultural differences in eating patterns. This is a big thing, yeah. And you shouldn't, we all as a researcher, all of you students who will become a nutritionist, who will become a researcher, academician, you all need to understand that all the way the way all of us eat are very different according to our culture. Yeah? And you shouldn't think that everybody eat the same way. Yeah? Yeah, we eat according to our culture most of time. Yeah, so this is important that you understand. Especially in Indonesia where there's a lot of people in Jakarta, there's a lot of people from other provinces, isn't it? Yeah, and their culture, the way they eat are very different from one to another. Yeah, and in Malaysia as well. Malaysia, because we are multi-ethnic. Yeah, there's Malay, there's Chinese, there's Indians, there's others. Yeah, so we all have to understand that they don't eat the same way. You are very unique, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, so you need to understand. So standardized tool may not be cannot be applied in this case. So you may need to have some other tools to collect information from these people, these different people that you're studying. Yeah, next please. And now I want to go into why. I want to tell you why reliable data matters. Yeah, without reliable data, you cannot identify who are at risk. Who are at risk to become overweight, who are at risk to become obese, who are at risk to become micronutrient deficient, who are at risk to have children who are stunted. Yeah? So you need to do data you need to collect data that's reliable for us to identify these many people who are at risk. Yeah? Otherwise, you cannot target your intervention to these people. And why we are interested to identifying these high-risk people? So that we can target them. Give a targeted intervention so that we can help them. Yeah? Then we can allocate our resources effectively. As I mentioned just now, trillions, we spend millions, billions, trillions of money for healthcare in many countries. In Malaysia, for example, we're spending trillions for diabetes management because it's one of the most expensive diseases to be managed. Yeah? But if we can reduce the number of diabetes patients in Malaysia, we can allocate that fund more effectively to other fields. Yeah? Okay? And you understand how government works, right? Government gets tax money. Yeah? Tax money from individual, from industry, from business and all that. And they use that to membangunkan negara. Yeah? In many sectors. Right? But if you have to channel so much of the money to healthcare, you have to sideline the other sector. Education, agriculture, you have to sideline them. Yeah? So this is why you have to understand, we need to provide the data so that they can allocate the resources effectively. Yeah? And see where are the sectors that needs more manpower? Where are the sectors that needs more resources, more facilities? Yeah? More investment in that sense. Yeah. Then we can design targeted intervention. Yeah. We can help our people from not having further complication due to the disease they already have by targeting the intervention to them. Yeah. And then we monitor the progress. Yeah. We don't do any data collection at one time and that's it. It's not one off. Yeah. Normally we'll do series of collection like SKE just now, Prof. Asay mentioned, right? Statistik Kesihatan, is it? Survey Kesihatan Indonesia. Yeah? It's not done one time. It's done many, many times. There's a cycles to it. And why? Because we want to monitor the progress. Yeah? Okay? So therefore, we need reliable data because with poor data, we can wrongly diagnose people, then wrongly give people the wrong treatment, and then there you go, you just wasted money on that. And the money is not generous. Yeah? Most of the time the money is not generous. Most of governments don't have that much money. Yeah? Okay? So we have to use that very limited money that we have very effectively, very efficiently. Yeah, by collecting the most reliable data. And I tell you, the most reliable data is not expensive most of the time. Yeah, just that you have to prepare, plan, strategize accordingly. Next, please. And this is where I'm going to give you some example of life course approach. Identify the appropriate anthropometric indicators, challenges that we face normally in terms of reliable data for specific age groups, and then some solutions and recommendations. Yeah, next, please. And this is the life course approach. You know, we don't start at pregnancy. We don't start at infancy. Life course happens even before that. Pregnancy. Don't forget, yeah, old school, old syllabus, we all start from infancy. And then we got to know that that is not a problem because the problem may already started even before that. During pregnancy, when the baby is still in mommy's womb. Yeah? So pregnancy, infancy, childhood, adolescent, adulthood, older age, they are very different stages. They come with different challenges. Yeah? So what are the things? The challenges, the outcomes that we see during pregnancy, we see birth outcomes. Whether the baby is born according to the timeline, whether the baby is having a right birth weight, the outcomes that we want to look. Then for infancy, normally we look into their growth, the stunting, sometimes the cognitive levels. Childhood, of course, the cognitive development. Adolescent is a very crazy time. One day you're a child, the next day you are a young man, young woman. Isn't it? Okay? One day you can play in the playground with all, if you're a girl, you can play with boys. The next day, you're no longer allowed to play with boys. Isn't it? Yeah? Have you gone through that phase? Yes? No? No? Oh, you're still allowed to play, normally. Yeah? But in some cultures, they may not allowed to play with boys anymore. Yeah? If you're a girl. Of course, if you're boys, it's a different story. Yeah? Okay, pubertal development is very important during this stage. Yeah? Then during adulthood, we look into work productivity, presenteeism, absenteeism. Yeah, presenteeism means you are at work, but are you really focusing, really productive enough? Yeah? Maybe you are at work, but you're having headache, so your work is not very good. Yeah? Absenteeism is not even going to work because of some diseases. Yeah? Then is older age, where a lot of our elderly are having sarcopenia, frailty, and so on. Micronutrient deficiencies, and so on. Yeah? So what is important there is that nutritional exposure at each stage affect the next. Yeah? So nutrition exposure during pregnancy, of course, affects the birth outcomes of the child, of the babies, isn't it? Yeah? So if the birth outcomes of the child is not optimal, what happens to the child? Child may not have an optimal growth. Yeah? So it affects the entire cycle of the next cycles of the lifespan. Yeah? At different body composition, cognition, and social context at different at different cycles of lifespan. Yeah? Then different data collection tools required because they're very different from one to another. You cannot use the tool we measure baby, same tool we measure baby to measure another adults or elderly. Yeah? It's wrong. Yeah? It's totally wrong. Yeah, so you need to have different tools. Then you must do research, must follow participants across the stages, and each stage has got its own challenges, which I've already briefly mentioned just now. Yeah? Next, please. Yasmin? Yes, next. Then, now we go into each stages. For example, children under the age of 5. Do you have a lot of malnutrition problem for children under the age of 5? Yes? Yes, in this country? Yes, similar in Malaysia. Yeah, especially with regards to stunting. You also have the stunting problem, but not as much as Malaysia, I think. Yeah, Malaysia is even more higher. And what are the challenge? Like, for example, recumbent length measured incorrectly. You know, it's the one of the toughest I have experienced, in my career, is to actually measure the length of a baby. It's very difficult. And I'm not sure, maybe Prof. Asir, Dr. Fatima have got different impression. Measuring the length of the baby, you have to make sure the baby is stretched properly. You have to measure them from head to toe. And most babies don't cooperate with you. Of course, they don't cooperate with you. They'll be like, and there you go, the mommy will be very anxious. What are you doing to my child? It's most challenging. So you need to make sure that, the position has to be correct. And most of the time, we overestimate or we underestimate, the prevalence of stunting because of this reason. Then age misreporting, it happens simply because the parents don't know the exact birth date. Yeah, you are very shocked to hear that. Yes, in some rural part, even in Indonesia, even in Malaysia, in some rural part, when a mother gives birth to the baby, she don't remember when. She don't remember the date. So most of the time, without the age, without the date, birth date, you cannot estimate the age. Correct or not? When you cannot estimate your age, the baby's age, you cannot know what is the nutritional status because all our growth indicator have got age. It happens. It happens. And what we normally misclassify children as stunted or not. The children may be stunted, but we may classify as not stunted because of this absence of this age data, or vice versa. Then poorly maintained equipment. For example, broken boards, stretch, tape, happens. When you have less facility or resources, these are the most basic, but these are all broken. So we have systematic bias, and then also inter-observer variation, different staff, different result, low data repetitively or reliability. So if you have two nurses, if you have two nutritionists doing the same thing, you are objected to get different results, slightly to a certain extent. And we allow that if it's within certain percentage. But sometimes it's more. Take for example, waist circumference. Where do you put your tape to measure waist circumference? You probably don't know yet. You probably not belum belajar, But some people's waist is here. That's why the thing. Can you imagine your waist is here? This is not room. Some people's waist is here. Some people's waist is here. And different concept. Wrong. And that's why they need to be trained. They need to be going to some training so that these are the things that is being standardized. Waist circumference especially is very problematic. Okay, so you need to have standardized training, regular equipment calibration, and also birth certificate validation. I tell you what can be done later if the mother forget the date. We can get some sort of proxy data. We can ask the mother more information. All right, I'll tell you later. Next. And this is in Africa. I don't think this is only a problem in Asia, or in Indonesia, or in Malaysia. In Africa, this is also a major problem where they have very, 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 very limited resources, money, resources, facilities to do this. But yet, they do what they can do with the minimum facility they have. And this is two people required to measure the length of the baby. Can you imagine? That's baby, and that baby is cooperating very well. Okay. And this is the bottom part is the locally made resources where one of the site can be is flexible. So you can actually measure the length of the baby. For babies under the age of 2, we measure their length. Normally under the age of 2. Yeah. But it's really very difficult that we have to measure their standing height. But they should be measured their length this way, not this way. Yeah, under the age of 2. Yeah, but sometimes we give some exception if the baby is not really cooperating. Okay, next please. And in all ages, for example, with regards to obesity, yeah, we know that BMI alone cannot distinguish fat versus muscle. Yeah, you know that, right? Do you know that? We use BMI for its convenience, because we just need to measure the weight and we just need to know the height, and we can calculate, we can estimate the BMI, isn't it? What is the formula for BMI? Anyone? BMI? Anyone know? Belum belajar ya? Sudah. Sudah, you must know. Anyone want to volunteer? Malu ya? Tak payah malu lah. Anyone want to volunteer? Yes. Yes, in meters. Yes, yeah. Weight in kilogram over height in meter squared. Yeah, it's BMI. And we can do that. We can measure the weight, right? Using the weighing scale. And we can measure the height, right? This is very convenient. Most convenient measure to be done. Yeah? Because it's very easy. Anywhere we can do. We can do here, we can do in kampong. Yeah? We can do in very rural areas as well. We can do that. Very convenient. But you must also know the downside of BMI is that it cannot distinguish fat versus muscle. Someone, if you measure a bodybuilder, they are very big, right? They are very big. But they are, so, what we call, in Malay we call sado. Yeah? Do you call sado as well? They're very buff, right? What do you mean by buff? They're very, very muscular. Yeah? Isn't it? Yeah? Why are you laughing? Because they're handsome. Okay? The two muscular not very handsome. The one in between, they're handsome. Yeah? Okay? Now, in that case, their BMI can be high, but not necessarily because of fat. It's because of the muscle. Yeah? Okay, so in that kind of exception, you must know, yeah, the BMI is probably not the best, yeah. So athletes, for example, misclassified as obese, or sometimes sarcopenic obesity is missed, yeah. Sarcopenic obesity, you have to have more than just BMI. You need to assess for the muscle function and all that, yeah. Then self-reported weight and height. Sometimes when you ask university student, yeah, if you're doing any research among university students, I know for your final year project, maybe most of you will choose to do study in UE among university students. Yeah, what happens when you do among university students? You have to be very careful with that data, because there's an aspect of social desirability. What is social desirability? They will report what society wants, what the researchers want. So if you ask them to self-report their BMI, although they are obese, they'll give you a normal BMI. Yeah? Okay? That's social desirability. That happens. Yeah? So be careful. Then waist circumference measured over clothing or at wrong level. And some people come with too much of clothing. Yeah? Isn't it? Some culture, they come with wearing 2 or 3 layers. Yeah? If you do this in European or in higher altitude countries, they probably come with their winter jackets. If you measure their waist over the winter jacket, of course their waist is high. So you have to ask them to remove. Yeah. So, but even if you can't see any patients, any subjects comes to you wearing thick clothing, you probably need to ask them, bring them to a private room. Yeah, ask them, can you remove 1 or 2 layers of your clothing? This is private room, nobody here, nobody sees you, only me going to measure you. Yeah, give them the assurance. Yeah, and give them the importance why you need to measure that way. Yeah. Then cultural reluctance to be weighed. For example, a woman. Yeah, women, they will decline. Some women, not all women, they will decline. If you ask them, can I measure your waist circumference? Can I measure your weight? Most women will be, can I not to do this? I don't want to do this. They will decline. Yeah, this is because of culture. Yeah, cultural reluctance. Yeah, so these are selection bias. So you need to understand all that details. Yeah. So you use multiple indicators in this case. Use BMI, use waist circumference, use percentage body fat where possible. Percentage body fat using BIA, yeah, bioimpedance assessment, yeah, and together in a private weighing area. If the woman say that, if the lady that in a subject say that, sorry, I can't, I'm not comfortable to do this in this room in public, then you ask them, can we do this in a private room? Yeah, where nobody sees, nobody notices your weight. It's only me. I'm the researcher, and also always give that their data is anonymous. Yeah, no individual data will be used, but it's a aggregate data. All right, so you have to tell them, give the assurance. All right, okay, next please. Now another special challenge is what we call the hidden obese stunted child. A child can be stunted. How a child can be stunted? When the height is low, according to the age, yeah, and overweight or obese according to the weight for length or BMI. This is dangerous because they may look normal in the eyes of parents. So they may not necessarily come to clinic to check. In the eyes of parents, my child is normal. He runs, he jumps, he climbs, he talks. Yeah? Okay? And he's chubby. That's fine. Yeah? But we know this is a problem. Yeah? And undernutrition is missed. Therefore, an higher risk of later diabetes and heart disease because they may remain stunted. Right? So data reliability issue is that standard charts, WHO growth standards, yeah, classify them correctly only if both height and weight are measured accurately. Okay? And we have no problem using the WHO standard charts. In Indonesia, do you use WHO or CDC, Dr. Fatima? We use both. Yeah, either of these growth charts are okay. They are perfect. Only if you measure the height and the weight of the child accurately. And also the age. Don't forget. Because a lot of parents don't remember when the child was born. Okay? So always plot both metrics. Never look at weight alone. Use height as well. Use BMI also. Yeah? In this case, use CDC, use WHO. Alright? Next, please. Now, for adolescent, this is a very interesting age group because most of my study research is among adolescent. Very, very interesting, but very, very exciting group. You learn new things from them every day. The Gen Alpha, now the Gen Alpha. Very interesting generation. Gen Z used to be very interesting, but Gen Alpha is even more interesting now. In my point of view, you all are Gen Z, right? You all are Z? Z, right? I am so old. I feel I'm so old. Yeah, Professor. Right? Okay. So Gen Z used to be very, very interesting. Yeah? But now Gen Alpha is even more interesting. And that's the challenges that we're seeing from one generation to another generation. Yeah? And when you work later on as a nutritionist, you will see the Gen Beta. Alpha and Beta probably, I don't know. Yeah? They are even more interesting. And that's how it is. Every generation, they have their own strength, weaknesses. Yeah? So this one, adolescent. The thing is that they have very rapid growth. Yeah? Rapid growth spurts. And therefore, if you just measure their their nutritional status or body composition at one point of time, you may misclassify them. Because they might be normal today, but abnormal in just another month or two. That, I'm not exaggerating, literally, yeah, okay? And then sometimes we don't record the pubertal status. And it's very important when they hit the pubertal status, yeah? Because body composition change dramatically once they hit the puberty. Until they hit the puberty, they might be small, thin, no shapes, yeah, no bentuk, yeah, isn't it? Yeah. Once they hit the puberty, girls especially, you see tremendous changes. Yeah, boys as well. Boys become very different. Their face become more hairy. Yeah, and girls, you see changes in the body. Yeah, dramatic. Yeah, so it changes dramatically. Therefore, if you just measure them at one single point of time, you may miss certain important information. Now, privacy concern. For example, body image, weighing in front of peers. So if you go to school, if you go to secondary school, and then you weigh them in front of other peers, and if you go to mixed school with boys and girls in the same room, of course they feel very embarrassed to do that. Yeah? They won't. Most of them won't. Yeah? And we don't want to trigger anything, isn't it? So, you expect some refusals, or if you collect information by asking them to do a self-administered questionnaire, you may get false reporting. Yeah? And then digital data entry errors as well. Yeah? If you ask them to answer anything using digital platforms, you may also get wrong answers. Sometimes it's not the most honest answer, because this age group, they already know how to manipulate. Younger age group, children, they're the most honest. They may not remember, but they're the most honest. Yeah? They may not have the ability to remember what happens yesterday or day before yesterday, but if they know, they're the most honest. But this age group, adolescent, they're most manipulative. Yeah, a very interesting age group. Right? So you need to know how to get the information from them. Yeah, as much as possible. All right? So solution is to provide some private screening area, use age and sex specific BMI. Yeah, don't use the adults one. Yeah, adults one is wrongly to be used because they are still growing. Yeah, so use the age appropriate, and then repeat the measurements where possible, because they grow rather rapidly. Yeah, so single point of measurement may not be the most sensitive for this age group. Yeah, next please. This is the growth standards, yeah, from WHO, one of the popular one that we use in many countries. Even in Malaysia, we use this. We don't use CDC, we use WHO. Yeah, next please. Now, pregnant women, yeah, they have high risk, but also high data complexity. Yeah. Correct indicator, for example, when we want to measure, and the correct indicator is mid-upper arm circumference, the muak. Yeah? You know where is mid-upper arm circumference? Have you all learned this? Di mana? Sini. That can be also very different from one person to another person. So where is the muak? Here. Different. So standard training is very important. Yeah, need to be trained to know where is the most appropriate place for you to place the tape to measure the mid-upper arm circumference. Yeah, but most of time in clinics, what do we do? We use BMI. Yeah, BMI is an indicator of nutritional status. This is wrong. BMI alone is not enough. And during pregnancy, this can be confounded by gestational weight. Right? Because during pregnancy, what happens? A mother puts on weight because the weight of the baby. Yeah? It's not the true weight of the baby, of the mother. Yeah? Okay, then gestational weight gain monitoring. I don't know how many times pregnant woman in Indonesia gets weight, yeah, but in Malaysia, it's very often, at least 3 times, 6 times, yeah. Okay, good, yeah, at least 3 times every trimester, at least once, yeah. Okay, so therefore, single weight measurements may not give you the trend data, because when women get pregnant, they go through 3 trimester. Right, first trimester, second trimester, third trimester, before the delivery, isn't it? And according to this trimester, the weight of the mothers become very different. They become very heavier towards the end, isn't it? Yeah, it should be right. It should be right, correct or not? Common sense, isn't it? Yeah, okay. So, but if you just measure them at one single point of time, for example, if you take their weight, gestational weight, you only at the first trimester, it may not be reflects the truth gestational weight gain during the pregnancy stage. Yeah, so we need a couple of measurements. Anemia. Yeah, anemia, hemoglobin, and this most of time should be adjusted according to the trimester, because the requirement for hemoglobin gets higher and higher according to the trimester. When a mother is at the 3rd trimester, the requirement for the HB, is higher compared to the 1st trimester. Yeah, because baby needs most during that time, and baby normally takes from the mom, and that's depending on the quality of diet, some underlying issues, and all that. Yeah, okay. So don't use non-pregnant cutoff for during pregnancy, because obviously during pregnancy the cutoff for HB is slightly different, yeah, than the non-pregnancy, right? Okay, so it's important, yeah. HB level will indicate the growth of the child. It's one of the important indicator for child health during pregnancy, the baby's health during pregnancy, yeah, and also to avoid any complications during pregnancy, yeah. So reliability tip is that standardized timing of the weight measurement, same scale if they go to the clinic, same scale, same clothing, same time of the day if possible. Yeah? Okay? Next, please. Now for adults, for older adults, more than 60 years old, yeah, classic obesity indicators fail here. Because at this time, there's a loss of height. Have you seen any elderly who can stand straight, but at the age of 60, they probably bongkok sikit? Yeah, bongkok, right? Yeah, bongkok. Do you know what's bongkok? We use bongkok as they shrink in some way, loss of height due to vertebral fracture or disc compression. Yeah, so BMI can artificially increase. Yeah. They're shorter but same weight. That happens, right? When your height reduce, your BMI become higher. Yeah. Now, sarcopenia, muscle loss is another very important topic. It's getting more and more attention these days, because sarcopenia or sarcopenia obesity is related to a lot of NCDs. Yeah. You were talking about muscle loss. Yeah. Normal BMI but high fat, we call this as sarcopenic obesity. Yeah, they can look normal, but they have a lot of fat. And fat accumulation is normal by aging. That's normal. Yeah, people when they age, they accumulate fat. That's fine. Yeah, but this is excessive fat that we're talking about. Yeah, and this can be assessed. Another thing is hydration changes. Bioimpedance body fat percentage becomes inaccurate, because BIA depends, can be slightly different when a person is overhydrated. Yeah, and that's why before we do any BIA assessment, we will ask the subject to go and buang air kecil dia. Yeah, okay, empty dia punya bladder. Yeah, so that the accurate measurement can be done. Yeah, otherwise hydration can affect the BIA measurement. Yeah. So for better data collection in elderly, make sure you have variety. Don't use only one assessment. You have BMI, you have waist circumference, you also measure the functional measures using the grip strength. Yeah, there's a dynamometer machine that you can use in clinic where you ask the elderly to tekan, yeah, to press the machine as much as they can. That is an indicator for their muscle strength. Yeah, okay. And also direct fat measurement where possible. Yeah, for example, the use of DEXA if you can. But DEXA is very expensive, very, very expensive. We don't use it that often, but very rarely feel feasible. Cannot be in field. Yeah, you have to ask the subjects to go to the hospital or the clinic where they have DEXA machine. But it's one of the most impossible data to be done. But no question about the reliability of data. Yeah. And this is where you have to give importance whether you want a quality or you want a quantity. If you have the money, go for the quality. If you don't, go to more than one indicator. Yeah? And most of the time we all don't have money. So we go more than one. Yeah? Next. Now, cross-cutting reliability threats, this is across all ages. Most importantly, make sure your equipment is well calibrated. The machine that you're using, make sure you calibrate them every single day. Yeah? Okay? And then make sure you don't overwork your research assistant or your field workers, because observer fatigue can also cause imprecision data. Yeah? Give them shift if possible. Yeah? Rotate the task, frequent breaks might help. And then digit preference. Sometimes they round to 0, sometimes they round to 5. 39.5. 39.5. Of 39.5. How do you record? How do you record 39.5? Do you put S in 39.5? Or do you put 39? Or do you put 40? Which one? What do you think? What do you think we should put? Yeah? Any guesses? Never mind. Salah tak apa, kita belajar. What do you think? Gentleman at the back. Gentleman, there's 2 gentlemen at the back. What do you think? Apa ya? 39.5. Do you report 39.5 or do you report 40 or 39? 40. Okay. 40. Good. Any objections to that? No? You all agree? You all agree to him? 40? You're rounding up? Do you necessarily need to round up? What happened? You lose the 0.5. It's very precious data. Yeah? If you get 39.5, sorry, yeah, I correct you, 39.5, report as 39.5. Yeah? Don't estimate that 0.5. Tak perlu. Yeah? 39.5 as it is. Boleh? Okay. When do you need to round up? Sometimes 39.5, when you enter, it's still 39.5. But in Excel, sometimes the Excel becomes smarter than us, right? It round ups for us. It becomes 40. Excel does that. So tell Excel, don't do that. You can program the Excel. Yeah? Okay? All right? Excel should be smarter than you because you are the expert in the field, not Excel. You know how much that 0.5 carries. It's very important data. Maybe when you put 40, the measurement already classify the person in the good category. But in fact, it's not. Yeah? The sensitivity of some cutoffs, remember that. Yeah. So apply this for all indicators. Use the real measurements that you see on the scale. Yeah. There's no need for you to round up. But this happens sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes people do round up for many reasons. They do round up to 0 or to 5. Yeah. But if possible, try not to round it up. Yeah. Now, so training to record exactly the one that they see on the scale. Yeah. Language barriers. I cannot tell this anymore. Even in Indonesia, you have language barriers, right? In some provinces, they speak Jawa. You don't even know how to speak Jawa, right? You speak Indon. Who can speak Jawa here? Dr. Fatima can speak Jawa. The rest? No. No. If you go to the rural places, they probably only speak Jawa. They don't know how to speak Indon. Is that possibility? Yeah. Yeah, there you go. In Malaysia, for example, if I do research among Chinese community, yeah, the Chinese community may not understand Malay or English. They only can speak Chinese. Language barriers. So that's why in our research team, normally we will have one Chinese, one Indian, of course Malay. Yeah, of course all of us, a researcher can speak both Malay and English. Yeah, so we can then help each other. Yeah, so have more people, more translated protocols or local staff. Yeah, to help you. Then missing data for refusal or absentees. Yeah, in that case you have to find for replacement. You need to add on your sample size or analyze the missingness accordingly. Yeah, okay. Next, please. This is for all the age group. Yeah. Now, practical field checklist for reliable data. Before data collection, make sure your equipment is calibrated, please. Yeah. What happens if you don't calibrate the machine? You know the machine, the scale should start at 0, right? Yeah. If you don't calibrate, for example, the day before the research day, there are probably 100 people who went up and down the scale. Up and down the scale. It might have affected where the jarum stand. Yeah? The jarum can bergerak, if you don't calibrate them. So the jarum probably now slightly more than 0. So kalau you measure the punya weight the next day, other subjects' weight, may not be the truth because the jarum already gerak. You didn't even notice. That's why calibration is important. Yeah? Calibrate your equipment every single day. Yeah? If possible, try to get tested with the standard. Yeah? Then all staff train to same standard. You must train all the research assistant, all the field work, how to measure certain things, standard according to the standard. Yeah? So that they know. If you have got 10 helpers in your research study or in your clinic, they know where's the waste exactly the same. Not here, not here, no, must be here. Yeah? Okay? They must know where is the. And age or birthday verified. Yeah? Ask the mother to show the birth certificate or at least, old records, anything. Yeah? Privacy arrangement made for some culture. During data collection, make sure you have that double entry or real-time validation, especially when you're asking them to report their dietary intakes. When they return to you the questionnaire, read through fast, skim through fast, and if you're not clear with something, ask them and report. Right. Yeah, real-time data validation. Yeah, double entry is good. For example, when you measure the weight, make sure there is 2 weight measurement at least. Yeah, and then you take the average. Yeah, spot checks by supervisor, clothing standardized. Try to get them. Try to measure their weight with the light, no shoes, empty their pockets. Yeah, sometimes they have lots of keys, lots of coins. They probably have phone that is so heavy, half a kilo. What is the weight of iPhone? Very, very, very very big, right? This phone is heavy. It affects the measurement, isn't it? So ask them, that's why you need to ask them to empty their pocket. And on top there, they probably have their house key, their car key, the coins. What else you have in your pocket? They're probably wearing belt, which is heavy also. Yeah? Therefore, important that you ask them to empty their pockets and so on. Yeah? After and check the range. Yeah? Make sure the range check should be between 50 to 200, nothing more, nothing less. Yeah? Range check, but if less, then it may be the truth. If more, maybe the truth, but check again. Yeah? Flag implausible combination. For example, BMI more than 40 in a stunted child. Yeah? Inter-observer reliability calculator. You can do this. Another mini study among your study is to check about kappa or intra-class correlation. Yeah? Next. So bringing it all together, yeah, just want to give you this importance, life course data metrics. Yeah, make sure that, you know, if you have a child, if you're measuring a child under the age of 5, make sure the key indicators you have more than one. Yeah, you have height, length, weight. Yeah, and also consider the age misreporting. Okay, and how can we do this? I tell you just now. I told you that we can verify this. If the mother can't remember the birth date of the baby, what are the other questions that you can ask for the mother to, you know, give you some proxy? Any other way? If the mother cannot remember the age, the birth date, what other information we can get? Apa lagi boleh ditanya? How else? Proxy. We cannot get the exact date, of course, because she can't remember. She don't know when was the date. Yeah? But what are the proxies that we can use? Ask. Was the baby born before harvest season, after harvest season? You know what's harvest? Yeah, musim tuai. Yeah, if in from the rural areas. Yeah? Is it before harvesting or after harvesting? Think of some significant time where you can use so that the mother can, you know, give you some indication. Yeah? It can be harvesting season. It can be some, or is it before Hari Raya? Or is it after Hari Raya? Or was it before some significant day in that culture? Yeah? So you can get some indication, like maybe in this month, I don't know the date, but maybe in this month or maybe in this quarter of the year. Yeah? And you can use that as a proxy. Boleh? Boleh? Ask for more information. Unless the mother is very annoyed, then you have to stop. Okay? We don't want to annoy anyone. Yeah? Especially your subjects. Alright? Then for child between 5 to 9, weight, height, and BMI. Yeah? Don't use adults cut off because this is children. Yeah? Adolescent, same height, weight, and BMI. Pubertal, don't ignore the pubertal stage. Get the information when they hit the puberty. Pregnant woman, of course, more mid upper arm circumference, weight gain. Yeah, must be trimester specific. So assess assess the pregnant woman from one trimester to another trimester. Adults, BMI, waist, and BP. Yeah, get the self-reported data. Yeah. That's one of the reliability trap. When you ask adults to give you the self-reported data, you may not get the most accurate answer. Believe me, yeah, they will answer you according to the social desirability. Yeah, so with social desirability, there's a lot of biasness into it. Yeah, okay. Then you have older adults where you have to get BMI, waist, and also the grip strength to understand their muscle strength. Yeah, don't forget sarcopenic obesity is a real problem. It's highly linked with a lot of metabolic health, so don't miss this. Yeah, if you can measure BMI by getting their weight and height, just get one more indicator where you assess their muscle strength. Yeah, okay. Next, please. So this is from stunting to obesity in the same person. I created this based on some hypothetical. Yeah, this is hypothetical. Yeah, it's not real case, it's hypothetical. But it's very, very close to the real case. For example, age 2 years old, born stunted, at the age of 2 stunted, yeah, according to WHO category, yeah. The child is going through some chronic undernutrition, yeah. At the age of 12, the height is only 130, yeah. At this age, the child is already overweight because of the height, yeah. So early nutrition transition. At the age of 40, the same person at the age of 40, now this person is an adult, yeah. Also obese. Because overweight then, obese now, the weight only increased from 130 at the age of 12 to 155, which is, how many is that? 25 centimeter, yeah, between 12 to up to 20 maybe, when they stop grow, yeah. Now the person is obese, is probably having metabolic syndrome because he's obese. He's obese throughout the childhood. He's obese throughout the adulthood. High risk of developing other NCDs, especially metabolic syndrome. Yeah. So what I try to teach you here, I'm trying to highlight here is that if you only measure them at the age of 40, for example, yeah, you have missed some of the lifelong trajectory that the person is on earlier. You might have already missed that when he was younger, he was stunted. You probably missed at the age of 12, yeah, he's already overweight. Yeah? So different people are on the different growth trajectory. So when you assess them later, you may overlook what happens in early of their life. Yeah? Okay? So you would miss this aspect, yeah, and the root cause. And the root cause is early stunting. Yeah? We're only seeing the effects later in life. Right? Next. So some recommendation, do not separate under and over nutrition in data and in your survey. If you're doing any research, try to have both. Yeah, for the reason I mentioned just now. Train the staff on all age groups. Yeah, you need to train some to certain level. Yeah, on how to collect information from one specific age group to another specific age group. The details even only the researchers probably will need to know. Yeah, use standardized age-appropriate indicators. Yeah, don't think that you can use one indicators for all age groups. It's not like that. It's not one size fits all kind of BMI. Especially in children, we know there is a cut-offs according to the age, according to the gender. Yeah. Then build in reliability checks at every stage. Yeah, very important at the training, at the using reliable equipment. Field supervision is important, and also data cleaning. Data cleaning, as I mentioned, you collected so much, you give us so much emphasis on collecting the most reliable data, but at the level of data entry and cleaning, you may have lost some power because of the rounding up just now. Yeah? Okay, so make sure this is also practice during your data cleaning, data management, data analysis as well. Yeah? And if possible, try to get longitudinal data. And this is most of time, easier said than done. Yeah? Because longitudinal data is very expensive. Very, very expensive. Yeah? Then report reliability metrics, try to get the inter-observer agreement, digit preference, alongside some prevalence estimates as well. Okay? Just to give indication how much we can trust your data. What is your intra-class correlation? What's your kappa value between the two observers, for example? Yeah? Next. So in summary, reliable nutrition data across the life course is not about expensive equipment. I didn't even tell you. I only mentioned one time, if you can do your study using DEXA, please go ahead. Just one time, but I didn't even encourage you. Because I know how expensive is DEXA. Yeah? So it doesn't have to be expensive equipment all the time. It's about knowing what to measure at each time how to measure it correctly at each time, and that recognizing stunting and obesity often coexist in the same individual, same population, family, and the same person, individual. So without reliable data, the double burden becomes a double blind spot. Not only one blind spot, it becomes double blind spot, because you may miss both of the malnutrition issues in this case. Next, please. I just want to give you very quickly 2 case studies so that you can understand this better in terms of practicality. Stunting research in rural Indonesia. You probably have not gone to any. Have you gone to any of the rural part of Indonesia? The most rural part? Tak ada? Pernah pergi? Rural part. Do you know what's rural, what's urban? We are in urban. Right? This is urbanized area. But don't forget, a lot of people also living in a rural part. So let's take into example this rural part, where you are doing community-based anthropometry and dietary diversity survey. What's dietary diversity? We just want to understand how diversified are their diet. Okay? How diversified are your diet? Do you take more than 5 different food groups every day? Yes? More than 5? Only 3. Nasi, ikan, meat, sayur ada? Buah ada? 5. The minimum is 5. Diversified. And that shows how diversified your diet. And why is diversity is important? Nutrition student. You need to know why diversity is important. Go back and study. Okay? Now, this is in children 0 to 24 months. The challenge is mother underestimated child's age because there's no birth certificate, as I say, in rural Indonesia. Rural part is very common. So you can use some local events calendar, for example, after harvest season, to estimate the age. Train the enumerators to cross-check with the health card if possible. Sometimes the mom probably didn't even go to any health clinic. Born in the village, born at home. Maybe bidan. You know bidan? Maybe bidan yang tolong semasa delivery. So they may not have gone to any clinics or healthcare. Okay, so you have to check. Then lesson, so you have to get the valid data requires for cultural adaptation. No blind protocol adherence should be, the protocol should be closely followed, adhered as much as possible. Next, please. This is in urban. Adolescent obesity risk. Context is to give FFQ and physical activity questionnaire in secondary school. Challenge is students, especially adolescents, they underreport their snacks because they know that snacks is not the healthiest. So social desirability is that they underreport the intake of snacks, junk food, consumption due to social desirability. And solution is that you can add anonymous response method. You can tell them this is anonymous. We're not going to share your findings. We're going to share your name, at all. Give them the assurance. And cross-check with small group sample of 24-hour phone call recalls. And other than that, you can also use triangulation method to improve the reliability. What is triangulation? Not only based on quantitative data, but also on qualitative data. This is higher level lah. Tak perlu, maybe you do when you want to do your master's or PhD later. But at this level, you know that this can be triangulated. That means you can have more than one information to get their response, their honest response. Okay, so I think with that, thank you so much. At the end of my presentation, I'm happy to take more if you have any questions. Next. This is just for discussion, but it's okay. I'm happy to take questions from you. Next. All right, thank you. And
Thank you so
I also want to promote this conference. Please, if you can attend, we have students rate as well. Yeah, in line with what Professor Ase mentioned just now, obesity is one of the emerging problem here in this country. So we are doing Asia Oceania Conference on Obesity in October, 15 to 18 October. Yeah, I am part of the organizing committee. Please attend. This will be in Jakarta. Yeah, so if you can attend, please attend. There's a students discounted fee as well for staff as well, right? Okay. So I hope to see you then, and I'm happy to take any question now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Please give a round of applause for Prof. Gita. I would like to also welcome Prof. Endang. Prof. Endang, maybe do you want to sit at the front? Thank you so much for coming with us, joining us this session today. Okay, so normally students this class have a lot of questions. I would like to see if you guys have questions. Please feel free to ask your questions. Kalau susah pakai bahasa Inggris, pakai bahasa Indonesia nggak apa-apa ya. Tapi nanya ya. Yeah. And as always, participating score for those asking questions. Grace already had one. Yeah. Who has questions? Okay, we have Sherry Lee ya. Sherry Lee, Tifa, and Sausan. Okay, the three of you.
Hello, Prof. My name is Shirley. I'm the first year students here. So I want to ask about, you've mentioned before about the challenges of recollecting data as recall bias. And actually, I noticed that some of students here is compiling thesis research with dietary recall methods. But is it still effective to use that? Because I think for dietary recall methods is effective and cost effectiveness, and also is easy to use, but is still effective, or we have another alternative? That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the very good question, Shirley. Most of time we use 24-hour recall because of its convenience. Yeah, because it's very easy. If you ask anybody to report what they have consumed in the past 24 hours, you can just quickly get the information. You know, it's rather convenient and easy. But it may not be the best because of the recall bias, especially in certain age group. This is a problem. Yeah, they can't simply remember. They have less cognitive ability to remember and so on. So this is a huge problem, I know. And also because of the social desirability, they probably hide. Depending on the situation, sometimes the overweight, obese, they will underestimate. If you are doing this study among the teen adolescent, they probably overestimate. Yeah, which it doesn't make sense. Like, you know, if you correlate the data with their body weight. Yeah. So the other thing that we can use is that to give more. We can give objective. This is what called the most objective way. Until today, we don't have the best. Every assessment method, there's a pro, there's a cons, yeah? There's a weaknesses, there's a strength. But if you have money, your research funding can afford this, yeah? The best thing to do is now we have Google Objective A, and now you have what is it, Google glasses. It has got camera in it. If you can, you know, invest, why not? Yeah? But if you don't have, we all have problem with getting enough money, right? So if you don't have, the other thing is by using now we have digital applications. Yeah, ask the respondent to take photo of their food that they're eating. Then you get accurate information of what they're eating, what is the size, how much, you know, nutrients in all of that. You can probably get the best. But even if that is very expensive, the other thing is like by using objective way of dietary assessment method is 3-day food record. By asking them to fill up every time they eat, so they don't forget. There's no recall bias inside, as much as possible. But you have to tell them, whenever you eat, please write down. You have to give them the diary. Yeah, and that's one of the best. But because it's 3 days, you have to then analyze their nutrients for that 3 days. Sometimes it's 3 days. Sometimes it's 7 days, depending. Yeah, Because it's 3 days, when we do 3 days, sometimes we don't cover the weekends. And people eat very differently on weekend compared to weekdays. Yeah? Do you agree? When you go back to your hometowns, to your home on weekend, you eat very differently than weekday. Weekday, you probably only eat instant noodle in your college. Correct? Correct, right? Yeah? So, but when you go back, it's feast every time over the weekend. Yeah? So people eat different way over weekend. So to take consideration of that, then you can use 7 days. Then remember, you have to assess, you have to analyze 7 days of dietary nutrient analysis. It gets very expensive because you need to spend more time, it's more researchers to analyze that. Then it's more money and time and resources into it. Yeah, 3 days may not have the most accurate in a week time kind of consumption. Yeah, may not reflect. Yeah, so that can be another way of doing this. Yeah, but other than that, it's literally a lot of problem. Yeah, even FFQ problem. Yeah, even the 24-hour diary call is a problem as well. Yeah, and in some studies they use combination. Yeah, they use FFQ also 24-hour diary call. Or they use diet records, which is the 3-day or the 7-day diet records, also a 24-hour diet record, just to find if there is any correlation. If yes, they probably there is no need for them to study the entire or analyze the entire food records. They probably just need to analyze the entire 24-hour diet records. If they were, if they subsample it, and if they find high correlation, that means people are correctly reporting using both the assessment, then yes, they can go ahead. Yeah, but hardly people do both the combination because it's very expensive to analyze the data. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Prof.
First of all, thank you so much, Professor Gita, for your presentation and your time. My name is Sausan. I'm also a first-year student of Nutritional Science in Universitas Indonesia. So my question will be, since we have made efforts to collect reliable data to give to the policymakers, but we still have a big number of malnutrition, not only in Indonesia, but in Malaysia as well. And I also understand that malnutrition is a multiple factorial issue. But I'd like to ask from the side of data collection, do we have issues maybe in forwarding the data to the policymakers, or maybe we lack people in these countries who are interested in data collection, specifically in nutrition? Or is it that it's not yet our country's priority to solve those malnutrition issues? So if to kind of give a recap of my question would be, what are the major challenges that we face in handling malnutrition if it's seen from the side of data collection that we as health experts have given or are in efforts to give to our country's policymakers? Thank you.
That is very big public health. Yeah, very big, very big public health question, public health implication question. I wish I have answer for that. Right? Most of us, we don't have answer. I mean, we to a certain extent we know, we kind of like know what could be the reasons for high number of nutrition, but our solution may not be able to answer immediately. Yeah, it may take several generations to get a proper answer. Yeah, most of time, yeah, I tell you, even though my topic was on getting the most reliable data in field work, but most of us in the field, we are already doing this. Yeah, it's just to teach the students how to do this better, but we are already doing this in the field. We already, all the basic things that need to be done, calibrate, training, standardized protocols, all these are being done. And most of the data that we get, at the national levels, we can trust to a certain extent. Yeah, but how can we do? What can be done to overcome the problem of malnutrition? We only know to the data level. But beyond that, what can be done? We can get some answers, like for example, what causing this malnutrition, some determinants, and there are many, many problems, and these are the problems that are very complex. Yeah, the factors or the determinants are interfaceted, intercorrelated, they're very complex. But the root cause, most of the time, the root cause is social. Yeah, the social aspect. And this includes the poverty. Yeah, the lack of education, lack of awareness. It's very much social aspect. Yeah, if we can improve that. That's why I say it may take several generations. Yeah, we can then eliminate this problem at all. Yeah, but it takes a long time. But the important thing is we are reporting what we should be reporting to the policymaker, and that should be the most high quality, most reliable data, and that's the focus of the talk. But if you want to go more than that, no. If we know the best data, but why can't we do anything to rectify the problem? There's a lot of complexities to that. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Professor. It really is.
I hope I answered. Yeah. Correct. Yeah.
Thank you, Prof. Gita, for the opportunities. My name is Tifa. I'm also the first year of Nutrition Science in University of Indonesia. So my questions is, when we collect data or system street food as fixed numbers, for example, 100 gram of chicken costs like 300 kilocalories or something. However, the actual nutrition change wildly based on how the food is being cooked or processed. But if a participant just logs when they eat chicken and didn't set that it's being cooked, boiled, or being using oil, so it's also happens with vegetables. If it's being cooked using water or using oils, it could change the calories in the food. So how can nutritionists trust our intake data when the actual food people eat on the ground changes so much based on processing and cooking? I think that is the questions.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, but the problem with the lot of our diet these days are not only the type of food that we take, yeah, but also the processing level. And you have raised a very good question over there. And in this time, processed food is something that is very convenient. Yeah, especially to certain people who living in urban areas. Yeah, because they probably don't have time to cook at home. So processed food is probably the most easiest, yeah. But processed food, it may not be the best health-wise or nutrient-wise, yeah. It's just because it's processed, it's convenient, out of convenient, and it gives people more, it just fills up their tummy rather than gives them the most of the nutrients for their health, yeah. And this happens. The thing is, people not only do that to themselves, adults, but they also feed their children, yeah, the convenient food that is high in fat, high in sugar, high in sodium, yeah. So they may not get the best of nutrients because we need, you're all nutrition students, you all know that's not the only nutrient that we have. We should get. We should get more vitamins, minerals, and so on from whole foods, yeah. And it's not surprising why we're seeing, even in urban area, the stunting is very high. Yeah, because that's what is being fed to the children. Yeah, not only in urban area, the problem is probably don't have enough food to eat, but in urban area they have more food, but these are the type of food they consume. So we have to look, this is again, like what Dr. Fatima said, the social aspect, where you see the problem arise and what are the reasons why we see that. Urban areas are not necessarily, they're all highly educated, they're more high income, but you're also seeing people who are living from low income, living in urban areas, who are most affected because they probably don't have time. They need to work through two to three odd jobs. Yeah, they probably less educated, they have no much awareness, less income, whatever that's convenient, that's cheap, that's probably the one that they choose for themselves and also for their children. Yeah. So this is why, as a nutrition student, as an expert in this field, we have to always nudge. We have to always increase awareness of people that are, these are the foods that if possible, they should avoid. Yeah, ultra-processed food especially. I know not all foods are bad, not all processed food are bad, but I'm talking about the ultra-processed food that is being processed at ultra level. That means it's nothing beneficial in that food except for sugar, fat, sodium. Yeah? So I hope I answered your question. Yeah, but the reasons why they consume, why malnutrition in urban area and rural area may be due to two different reasons. The type of the food they consume and the preparation of it. Yeah?
Okay.
Thank
you so much.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah. Tifa,
To a certain extent?
does
Yes?
that answer your question? Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. We still maybe have one opportunity for one questions. Okay, Nea wants to ask question? Okay, go ahead.
So, hello, Prof. I'm Naila from nutrition program. So I just want to ask your opinion. There's some clinics that used to maintain like diet programs, but it just because there's a lot of obese celebrities that consult to that clinic. So many people's like to join to the clinic to do the diet programs, but the diet programs is mostly like are assisted by drugs, either pills or injections. So what's your opinion about that kind of diet programs? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. If you realize, if you notice, all of these pharmacological therapies that is being given to most of people obese, yeah, especially obese people, if you see one part of their treatment is actually lifestyle intervention. Yeah, probably 60-70% is the pharmacological help, as in injections or pills. But the remaining 30-40% is actually lifestyle intervention. Must be given by dietitian or nutritionist. The help should be given by dietitian and nutritionist. Because why? Because lifestyle intervention, we need to change the behavior of people. We need to change the lifestyle of the people. And once they stop the medication or the injection, these are the components that can help them to maintain their weight throughout their life. And no, I don't think so if there is any big studies that have done to see if they are forever on the injection. No. If they're forever on medication, they stop somewhere, at one point of time. Yeah? Probably after 6 months, probably after 9 months, after 12 months, because they're very, very expensive. Yeah? In Malaysia, every month, it costing, for those who are taking GLP, it costing between 1,000 to 1,006 every month. Ringgit Malaysia. Yeah? It's very expensive. So I don't think so they can do this forever in their life. What is forever in their life is the advice, the lifestyle intervention, the lifestyle advice that we give them for them to, maintain it forever in their life. Yeah? And that's probably not so much of charges, except that they need to change the way they live, they eat, they move. Yeah? So, and the use of celebrities, influencers, is a bit misleading sometimes. Yeah? And this is why everybody needs to have the ethics. Yeah? So when you see influencer or celebrity going to certain clinics to get, the jabs and all that, it's actually part of marketing. It is marketing. A lot of people falls into that marketing trap. Yeah? I'm sure all of us, including me, we fall into marketing trap once in a while. Yeah? It can be injections, it can be, it can be the clothes they sell, it can be the things they sell sometimes in the social media. We fall because marketing is very, 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 very tricky. Yeah? They can buy many people's belief Yeah. So including this, the use of celebrities or influencers is marketing. Yeah. So they need to know ethical marketing. Yeah. In this sense. Yeah. But lifestyle intervention, no way is going to take over anything. Yeah.
Okay, hope that answers your questions ya, Nea ya. Okay, so before we close this guest lecture, I think we have 6 more minutes, maybe 3 minutes each. Can I invite Pak Pandu and Prof. Endang to give maybe closing statement, summarizing statement? Pak Pandu, do you want to add from biostatistic perspective, especially in regard of data collection in nutrition that we just discussed today?
I will say in bahasa because I should say to my students.
3 minutes ya Pak Pandu ya. Okay.
Not for you, Prof. Gita. Jadi itu kuliahnya Prof. Gita itu bagus sekali ya. Ada konsep nutrisi, ya konsep gizi yang bisa salah karena nggak ngerti untuk ngukur ini pakai ini, ya kan? Untuk ngukur kenaikan berat badan ibu hamil cuman pakai satu variabel, satu pengukuran aja. Dia bilang apa? Lihat tren. Nah itu penting, jadi apa yang kita ingin tahu dan apa yang kita ukur itu harus sejalan. Ya kan? Nah itu yang menurut saya, karena apa? Karena kita dinamis, kita berubah terus. Makanya disebut life cycle kan. Dari bayi, misalnya saya bayi prematur, cuma 2000 kilo, ya kan? Karena udah keluar sebelum 9 bulan. Tapi kan obesitas juga saya pernah. Ya, jadi prematur, obesitas tuh ternyata perjalanan kohort seorang manusia tuh bisa terjadi seperti itu. Kedua, yang paling penting adalah masalah double burden tadi. Ya, ada mahasiswa saya yang mendapat penghargaan karena analisis data SGGI adalah mengungkap fenomena di dalam suatu keluarga, ada yang stunting, ada yang obesitas. Fenomena the paradox, stunting and obesity in one household. And many, not only few. Nobody to look at that. The data is there. Jadi untuk data itu ada, coba kita harus ngerti konsep apa yang kita cari. Ya, nah itu. Jadi tadi, dan kita juga harus berhati-hati dengan data yang kita analisis. Karena tadi kelemahan-kelemahan, kesalahan pengukuran, jadi measurement bias ya. Jadi bisa orang dibilang stunting tapi nggak stunting dan sebagainya. Jadi betul-betul dipelajari konsep nutrition. Kalau pengen benar-benar belajar jadi orang hebat, seperti Prof. Gita, seperti Prof. Endang Hari, seperti Prof. Siti Fatima. Siti Fatima ya? Fatima, nggak pakai Siti. Ya itu, jadi kuncinya di sana. Ya jangan terlalu banyak lihat TikTok. Ya kan? I show the observer when you give the lecture, they just look at their gadgets. I just take some picture, yeah. I hope, I wish that, but some just typing something, send somebody else, you know. Your body in here, but your mind somebody else, somewhere else. Ya, jadi harus fokus ya belajar ya. Jadi ini kayak orang tua, emang orang tua sih. Ya, jadi nasihatin, jadi seperti itu. Jadi karena nutrition problem itu besar. Kalau saya udah tua seperti ini, saya menganggap food is my medicines. Saya nggak pernah minum suplementasi karena makanan lah, raw food, nggak pernah nyentuh lagi yang namanya ultra processed food. Kenapa? Target saya adalah longevity, supaya umur saya panjang dan sehat dan sebagainya. Itulah betapa pentingnya makanan, nutrition. Saya nyari orang yang untuk konsultasi gizi susah. Karena apa? Karena nggak ada yang seperti, nah ini generasi muda harus lebih pintar daripada dietitian atau nutrition yang sekarang. Karena the future our health is depend on the food, healthy food, eat something like that. Jadi jangan anggap remeh makanan itu nggak penting, penting, ya. Oke, masih.
Oke, terima kasih banyak Pak Pandu. Applause buat Pak Pandu. Ya, and one short message from Prof Endang. Please, Prof.
Very embarrassed. Bahasa Indonesia boleh?
Boleh.
Ada Pak Pandu, ikut Pak Pandu juga ya. Ya adik-adik, ini kalau saya selalu senang mendengarkan, ini yang kedua atau tiga kali ya mendengarkan paparan beliau, itu bagus sekali. Saya memang mendengar dari belakang tadi karena biasanya 45 menit, tadi 3 jam, hampir 3 jam saya sampai sini. Jadi paparan beliau itu menyeluruh, mulai dari konsepnya, maksudnya, kapan digunakannya, kemudian bagaimana mengatasinya dan seterusnya ya. Jadi ini adalah bagian dari suatu penelitian ya, di mana aspek pengukuran itu sangat penting. Ya. Prof Gita sudah menyampaikan dengan sangat menurut saya detail dan juga konseptual juga. Ya. Jadi mudah-mudahan adik-adik semua bisa belajar. I was learning very much also. It's not just me. Yes. Really. Ya, jadi mudah-mudahan adik-adik juga belajar. Saya juga belajar loh. Ya masih ada saja yang saya miss, yang belum saya ketahui. Harusnya saya ketahui karena saya lebih banyak di maternal health ya. Tapi Pak Pandu is biostatistician, but he is interested in that. We were together in anemia project ya, Pak Pandu ya, maybe 30 years ago, 1990. So he knows a lot about nutrition also. So ya jadi adik-adik beruntung ya bisa mendengarkan ya, mudah-mudahan bermanfaat. Ini bagian dari acara Departemen Gizi. Terima kasih Bu Asih, Bu Fatimah, dan ibu-ibu bapak-bapak yang lain di Departemen Gizi. Ibu Prof Gita, jangan bosan datang lagi ke sini ya. Oke, terima kasih banyak. Semoga kita semuanya mendapatkan manfaatnya. Terima kasih.
Amin. Thank you so much Prof Endang for the reminder to a lifelong learning ya Prof ya. Oke. Is there any more questions from the audience? Is there any more questions? Maybe we can squeeze one more. If not, maybe we can. I think I saw a hand rising. No? Do we have more questions? One more? Okay. Can we still have one more questions? Okay, maybe just a quick one ya Grace ya. Okay.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Dr. Fat, and also Prof Gita. I really like your session as always, and thank you so much for the lesson. And I want to ask a quick question about BMI, because from your presentation we learned that BMI cannot accurately distinguish fat from muscle mass. So do you think it is still worth being the main nutritional assessment and tool taught and widely used today? Even as high schoolers, I've learned about BMI, but learning from today, it's not very accurate. So do you think we should emphasize more on other measurements like waist circumference and body composition analysis? Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's a very relevant question, a very important question as well. I hope I did not sway your thinking from BMI. BMI is still one of the most important, most convenient way of measuring adiposity. Yeah, in many settings. Yeah. Be it in this classroom, be in the clinic, be in field, anywhere. BMI is one of the most easiest, most convenient, feasible can be done as long as you measure the weight correctly and the height correctly. Yeah. But as I mentioned, in certain groups of people, it may not be the best, especially in some athletes. Yeah. Or because now we are seeing a lot of people giving a lot of attention to their muscle, people who go to gym, building up their muscles, building up their bodies and so on. It may not be the most accurate. So when you are doing this study among that group of people, take extra precaution. Yeah, you may need to add on more variables, percentage body fat from BIA, for example. Yeah, if you can do it. Yeah. So, and also in certain people may not be the most, especially in the elderly, because we know, as I mentioned just now, fat tend to be higher because of the age. Yeah. So in age people, it may not be the best. Yeah, because the fat is more. But the BMI only tells you the weight, the BMI based on the weight, and the weight can be from fat, can be from muscle. So you may need to be also take extra precaution. Yeah, but in any other people, it should be one of the most optimal. Yeah, and use it together with other measurements as well. Even in adults, we use BMI together with waist circumference. Yeah, together with percentage body fat from BIA, if you can. Yeah, but waist circumference is one of the easiest. If you are trained well, it's one of the easiest. Yeah, so use BMI together with waist circumference or percentage body fat from BIA machine or DEXA or anything. Yeah, and then correlate and then use both of that. Yeah, and there is a lot of indicators that we use both BMI and waist circumference. Yeah, so you need to assess both in some ways. Yeah, so triangulate information for adiposity by using more than one measurement. Not only rely on BMI, but also other adiposity measurement that can be easily done, as well as the BMI. Yeah, okay. I hope I answered you.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so I think that wraps our. Oh, okay, boleh.
Tentang IMT BMI ya, itu penting karena dalam cek kesehatan gratis, jadi medical screening for general population untuk masyarakat itu kita minggu lalu saya memeriksa kembali 20 juta data peserta CKG. Ya kan, tahun lalu saya meriksa 60 juta data CKG. Gak ada orang yang selama ini menganalisis begitu banyak data dan butuh berhari-hari. We need 3 or 4 days. My computer is become hit, you know. Jadi kita memfokuskan pada IMT, BMI, and then lingkar perut. Karena itu indikator yang paling gampang. Dan untuk education paling gampang, ya kan? Seperti Pak Menteri bilang, kalau ukuran celana kamu atau kita, orang dewasa, lebih besar dari 34, hati-hati, itu akan cepat menghadap Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Kan gitu. Jadi itu orang tuh gak ngerti apa itu obesitas, atau apa, lingkar perut. Tapi begitu dia ngomong tentang ukuran celana, itu ternyata berisiko untuk usianya lebih pendek gitu kan. Ya, itu membuat heboh tuh untuk pertama kalinya. Dan di Jepang itu ada obesity war, di mana setiap karyawan tuh harus mengukur lingkar perut. Kalau lebih itu akan disuruh diet and exercise. Jadi kuncinya kan dua, balance dan activity, physical activity. Dan jadi untuk sehat dan sebenarnya, ya nggak usah macam-macam. Tapi kan itu nggak pernah diajarkan ke publik. Dan kalian kan public health, ya kan, mengedukasi. Dan kita juga coba aja setiap orang di sini, kamu ukur teman-teman kamu lingkaran perut tiap tahun. Itu paling gampang. Ya, jadi kamu bisa bikin suatu kegiatan yang hebat dan keren di FKM ini hanya dengan IMT dan lingkar perut. Terima kasih.
Okay, thank you so much Pak Pandu for the addition, nice additions, reminding us of the cek kesehatan gratis program ya. So it really integrates with the knowledge and also the practice. I guess that wraps our questions, our guest lecture session for today. Thank you very much. I remember Sherily, Sausan, Tifa, and Nea for the critical questions. It really helps us learn more from this lecture. So before we close this session today, I would like to invite everybody for a together photo session. Yeah. So can you please, students, go to the front of the room of the class, and maybe Bu Asi, Prof. Endang, and Pak Pandu can sit in the middle. And please, student, come standing behind. Oh yeah, okay. Ya, yuk ke depan yuk semuanya yuk.
Cukup ya, kita di sini kan, kita di bawah adik-adik. Apa berdiri aja? Enggak, di sini mereka adik-adik di sini. Kalau kita ikut, kalau kita ikut, cukup tempatnya mereka berdiri.
Adik-adik boleh naik ke podium ya, buat 2 baris gitu ya. Yuk. Yuk silahkan. Tifa dan kawan-kawan boleh ke depan ya. And maybe Prof Gita, Prof Gita dan Pak Pandu please come in the middle. Oh, Yasmin mana Yasmin? Yasmin minta tolongin foto dong.
Ada yang duduk di sini ya.
Ya. Oke. Mau dong. Oke. Please. Oke.
Anak gizi cantik-cantik ya.
Baru tahu Pak Pandu. Pak Pandu, dosen-dosennya nggak cantik Pak Pandu. Terlambat Pak Pandu.
Ini dong masa.
Gizi gimana?
Semangat.
Gizi.
Masa kayak gini atau gini?
Gini.
G Pak Pandu, G.
Nah,
Gizi mau
kayak
kita.
belakang. Tiga, dua, satu.
Terima kasih banyak ya adik-adik ya. Adik-adik jangan lupa ditunggu tugas resumenya. Terima kasih banyak. Selamat berakhir pekan ya. Oke, kalau ada yang mau kontak-kontakan sama Prof kita boleh ya. Mau ngobrol. Nanti malam. Jadi pokoknya nggak ada format. Ya minimal 1 halaman aja untuk rangkumannya terus diupload ke Google Drive aja. Ya. Indonesia boleh, Inggris boleh, terserah aja. Ya, thank you ya.
Di dokumen itu ada link G-form untuk absensi. Nah itu diisi atau enggak?
Kan sudah ditandatangan ya? Iya. Normal absennya disimpan kan ya? Kalau misalnya disimpan,
Untuk kakak-kakak atau teman-teman yang belum mengisi daftar hadir bisa ke depan PC ya untuk mengisi daftar hadirnya. Terima kasih.
Sekarang masih sepedahan nggak?